Hey everyone, so I just finished reviewing a knife that costs new around $100, and I know that that's going to be outside the realistic price range of a lot of people who watch my channel. Ordinarily it would be for me too, but given the deal I got on that thing, couldn't really pass it up. So what I wanted to roll in front of you is a knife that I have had for several years, probably close to 6 or 7 years now, and has been a constant companion in my pocket over that length of time, and has seen a lot of use, a lot of wear and tear, and it's really one of my favorite knives. If this is the kind of knife where if all you've ever owned are like gas station knives that are right next to the counter that are like $3, if you want to take a step in the direction of getting a nicer knife that's going to last you a little bit longer and you're going to be a lot more happy with, this is the knife that I normally direct people towards. And anytime I've given a knife as a gift, this is a little fun fact, anytime I've given a nice knife as a gift, this is the knife that I've given. And this is the Rat Model 1. I believe these are made by Ontario still. And because of the popularity of these things, there's almost an endless list of options of colors, patterns, anything that you could want with these knives. And just a really, really all-around great knife at a very good price. So to start out, I'm going to put the specs on this side of the screen: weight, length, materials, etc. However, I should say that the look of this knife may be different now. Again, I got this thing 6 or 7 years ago, and I know they've changed the design of the logos and stuff since then, but the overall knife itself should at least be pretty much the same. So because this is one of my early knife reviews still, I want to go ahead and lay out my approach to these videos. I don't approach these videos as someone who is telling you about an end-of-the-world knife, a knife that you want to put in your go bag and, you know, use for the zombie apocalypse. That's not the approach I take to these videos. I just approach it as a regular guy who carries an EDC knife and is using it for normal tasks that you would need a knife for: opening packages, opening letters, etc. I'm not necessarily approaching this from like a self-defense tool or anything like that. I have other options for that, and I hope I never get into a knife. That's like the last thing I would want. What's that? The edged weapons training video. Anyway, if you guys know what I'm talking about, you know exactly what I'm talking about just by that. So knife fights are not something I want to get involved in. Anyway, so to get into this knife, this thing is an extremely versatile and usable knife. It has an OS 8 blade, at least again, as of when I bought this. They might have changed that over time, maybe added some higher quality blade steels, because OS 8, while not bad, is a really common steel that you're going to see on some of those cheaper knives. However, it makes it very easy to sharpen, but that's also because the edge will start to dull a little bit faster than some of those other seals out there. Now, because of the blade shape on this is something that I have no issue sharpening myself. I've sharpened this thing several times over its life. You know, when you see close-up pictures of the blade on this thing, you could probably tell that this thing has seen some significant use. Although I have to say, the finish on it is holding up really, really well. I know the Haas USMC has one of the Rat Model 2 knives, the smaller version of this one, and he opens up aluminum cans a lot with it, and that took the finish off pretty quick. But that's not an issue I've had with this one. Now, this does open only with thumb studs. There's no flipper on this thing. However, once you get used to it with the phosphor bronze bushings on the inside of this thing, it makes it very easy to open single-handed. You know, once you get your technique down, you can really just flick it out there, no problem. The clip on this thing can be positioned in 4 different spots, either tip up or tip down on the left hand or right hand side. So however you like to carry your knife, you can carry this one that way. And you know, you can't really ask for much more than that. The clip on it works very, very well. It's got 3 fasteners that hold it down, and I will say you'll want to Loctite those down, because I've had issues with this thing coming loose over time and wiggling around. Never had it come off or anything crazy like that, but just blue Loctite those down, and you'll be a lot happier that way, I promise. It does have a lanyard loop down here at the bottom, or on the tip edge of this knife. So if you wanted to put a lanyard on it, you could. However, you'd probably only be limited to tip up carry at that point. But again, depends on how you like to carry it. I carry knives tip up and tip down. I don't really necessarily have a preference. As long as the blade stays closed while it's in my pocket, that's kind of what matters most. And that's, again, an issue I've never had with this knife with it coming open on me. Now, this is a liner lock, and if you see where this thing sits on my knife, you could, again, probably tell that this thing has several years of use. It sits pretty far in on the knife. However, it still, you know, is working just fine. I might want to look at replacing this thing in the not too distant future. But again, given the several years of service that this thing has put in and been in my pockets for several years, I think it's pretty acceptable for the price range that this comes in at. I'm not sure what the handle material is. If I can find it, I'll put it on the bottom of the screen, but it's not too aggressive, but does give you some grip. And with the way the blade sits off the handle, with the kind of upswept blade with a little bit of jimping that they have there on the back of the blade, it really locks in. So I have done very minor whittling with this and woodworking with this, and it just works in the hand very well. And with the full flat grind, it seems to work well at those tasks. One of the things that I really like about this thing as far as carrying it is it has a very slim feel to it. It doesn't feel too wide, so when you have it in a pocket, even in like jeans or something like that, that's going to fit a little tighter. I have no problem getting this in or out of my pocket, and it just, you know, fits very well. I don't have to go out of my way to get this to work in my everyday carry setup, which is a very nice thing. I can also say I've never actually serviced this knife. I've never had to take it apart. I've never had to maintain it, never clean it, never lube it. Probably should have, but I haven't. And the blade centering and everything on it, the fit and finish, still feels great on it, which is, again, a very good thing when you compare it to other knives that cost twice, if not 3 times as much as this thing. So overall, if you're looking, again, to upgrade into something better than those off-the-shelf knives at, you know, your local car parts store or hardware store or anything like that, and you want something that you can be a little bit happier with, that's going to last you, in my case, 7 or 8 years, and probably longer, definitely check out the Rat Model 1. Right now, even on like Blade HQ, you can find these for under $30 for just the simple black style like this. Again, the logos and stuff have changed over the years, but it should still be the same knife at its core, and that's, to me, what really matters. Again, this thing has put up with a lot of use. It's put up with a lot of abuse and lots of sharpening, lots of everything, and it's still just going strong. And I really, really like these knives. I think these are probably the best value knives you can find. If you go on Amazon, which can be hit or miss, you can even find them cheaper, for like 25 bucks. And if that's what the route you want to go, hey, you know, God bless, by all means, do what you want. I typically like going through some of the more reputable like knife companies like Blade HQ, a bunch of other good ones out there. But definitely check these out. Again, if you're looking for just that little baby step into the right direction, this is definitely a good one to check out. So again, Rat Model 1, I've been very, very happy with this knife. Just looking now at where that liner's sitting, I think it might be time for me to buy another one myself. But again, I still see no issue carrying this one for the foreseeable future, and it's always going to have a place in my pocket. And a little fun little tidbit here. The first time I ever met Ethan Becker, the guy who designs Becker knives, now for K-Bar predominantly, the first time I ever met him, this was the knife I was carrying. And he was asking me what knife I had on me, and I pulled this thing out of my pocket and I handed it to him, and to paraphrase, was like, "Oh man, it's a great knife." So when you have a well-known knife maker compliment a $30 knife, you know that means something. These things have a great reputation, and they're very popular for a very good reason. So again, check it out, Rat Model 1. Big fan, and if you're someone I know and you're expecting a knife as a gift, this is probably going to be it. So anyway, with that, if you want to see more knife reviews, definitely let me know. These are a nice, simple, easy thing for me to do. I have a ton of them that I've had in my collection for, again, 7 or 8 years. Like this one, I've just carried this more than the other ones. So if you want to see more, definitely let me know. They're a pretty simple thing for me to do, and but I know the views tend to be a little bit slower on these guys. So again, let me know if that's what you want to see. If you feel so inclined, I do have a Patreon page, so definitely check that out. I might, maybe once this thing has been used up, I might either do a giveaway of this one or be able to get a new one. We'll figure it out. I might do a giveaway of a Rat Model 1 on my Patreon page, so if that interests you, or the fact that I post all my content there early, I do live streams, exclusive content, giveaways, that kind of stuff, definitely check that out. That really makes a big difference, so I really do appreciate the contribution people are making over there, so definitely check that out if you feel so inclined. But anyway, with all that said, as always, I hope you got something out of this video, and I really appreciate you watching.